I saw this young. I think we all did. I mean, the VHS cover still sticks with me. The punks with the gravestone.
Yeah. Punk zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember renting it, thinking the first time I saw it. I've seen it so many times. I'm kind of going back that I thought it was a sequel in line with Romero's Dead trilogy, and then as I got older, I realized that O'Bannon was a part of the original, and this was like their way to break apart, which I think is great. The fact that he went a different direction with it, I think, is the best damn thing we could have gotten.
Well, actually, in Return of the Living Dead, the original 1985, they make it that Night of the Living Dead actually was real. It happened.
Oh, because he knocks on the thing, because the whole thing he goes, the canister in the basement. He's like showing off to the young punk. Yeah.
I love the movie. It's funny. It's scary. I like the soundtrack, the Misfits. It's sexy with Linnea Quigley, who's pretty much naked the whole time. And of course, I'll always remember the resurrection scene. Oh, well, I always remember that. Great cast. Tom Matthews, of course, Friday the 13th Part 6. James Karen, Frank Calfa, all really, really great chemistry, funny guys. And that's what I liked about this one as opposed to Part 2, which we'll get into later on. I thought personally that it juggled scares and laughs really adequately, really, really nice. And it made, like, on a whole, a cool, scary, funny, but organically zombie movie, man. And before you guys get into it, just the resurrection scene, like when they come out of the graveyard and shit, like the first time, genius. I just fucking loved it.
I've got a really interesting experience with this movie, and Lance, you kind of touched on it. I saw this at the drive-in when it released originally, so I didn't see it on VHS, anything like that. I was at the drive-in my junior year in high school. I think it was my summer between my sophomore and junior year. I was a football player. And we kind of had this back then, which I found interesting in the movie. You didn't have punks running around with preppies, running around with, whatever you would consider the jocks, that kind of thing, which I found to be a really interesting, dichotomy in the film, was everybody was kind of together. So back then when I watched it, I had this real angst against punkers and things like that so I didn't really dig the soundtrack. To make that story, I watched it this week again for just the second time ever. I don't remember the gal being naked the whole time, which was fantastic, by the way, when I caught it on the second time, which how do you not remember that when you're 15, but you do remember it somehow at 52. I thought the practical effects were unbelievable for the time. Those were fantastic. I agree with you on the zombie scene when they first come out of the ground. My problems with it lie in, you won't get this from my film actually, but I'm kind of a purist in the zombie world. Like, I like slow-moving, zombies. I don't want them asking for more paramedics to come. That
was hilarious. I love that.
It was.
I'm in distress. Send more paramedics.
Yes, but I think at the time much like you guys, when I first saw it, I thought it was an extension of the other Dead movies, and I had just seen Day of the Dead like a month before, because they released right around the same time. So I was definitely a Romero guy. So when I'm seeing, kind of all this crazy comedy stuff, I don't think I liked it then, but I definitely enjoyed it much more on the rewatch and really, kind of dug into it. And again, I really enjoyed the practical effects. Some of the stuff they did was fantastic. I mean, especially for the time, when you think about it, it was just unbelievable.
I grew up on Hot Shots. I grew up on fucking Leslie Nielsen, and so I dig the comediness. I really do. I agree though with John though. I think it as much as I like the second one, I'll defend that like a motherfucker. I wrote a whole black sheep on it. The first one nails the tone. It walks that straight line perfectly. It really, really does. And Quigley, is it Linnea? I've been saying her name wrong. Is it Linnea or Linnea?
It's Linnea today, so tomorrow might be something else.
Well, I will say this, being I didn't see when it came out because I was born. But the beauty of the VHS generation, and especially when I grew up, is that there was no helicopter parenting. There was no, you can't watch this. I just fucking rented whatever I wanted to. I think she's a great actress. Quigley, she was in Night of the Demons. But she's a sex symbol, and she just rocked it out, and I think she owned it, and God bless her, because she made her money and she was smart. But I will never forget when she's like getting all hot and bothered in the graveyard talking about like death, and she just fucking rips her shirt open and starts dancing naked. I've never been more proud to be an American at like 8 years old, But I was gonna say that one of the scenes I like the most is when they call for more brains, because I think it's just It's dumb, but I mean, it's smart dumb though. I think it's that perfect.
It's very smart dumb. And the characters, you know, like I said, Tom Matthews and James Karen and
Frank and Freddie had that cool little like like
I felt bad for them. I felt bad for them when they got hit with rigor mortis. I felt empathy. I'm like, poor bastards. You usually don't feel for in a horror comedy. You usually don't feel, but the characters just came across as real people, so it made me feel for them personally.
One of the parts I kind of did dig about it was there was a period of time in the film when it had a really, one of my favorite movies is Assault on Precinct 13, the original.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time in that film, people show up and they're kind of, hey, what's going on? And then they're just, you know, mobbed, right? And the same thing went on with this movie the whole time. Anytime anyone showed up, they're just butchered within like 10 seconds. That was kind of cool to see. I thought it was really good. Again, the effects were, for the time, just unbelievable. I was shocked watching it again.
The Tarman, that's the nickname they gave it. Yeah.
Yes.
That zombie guy there. He scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Now he just reminds me of my ex. But when I was a kid, he scared the shit out. I put a bump. Scared the shit out of me. But this one holds a special place in my heart. So guys, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, get a 6-pack, bunch of buddies, and check it out because it's a fucking blast.
Yeah, 100%. It's worth the view for sure.
Welcome to the end screen. Because we have our most popular videos up here, our latest videos over here, our modern reviews up here, and of course, the subscribe button right here, guys. Every little bit counts, and we do appreciate the support.